Assalamu alaikum. This is Btv Chattogram welcoming you all to the English news from Btv Chattogram. Let's begin with the headlines. Interim Government's Advisory Council gives in principle and final approval to draft of International Crime Tribunal Amendment Ordinance 2025. Students and agitated people demolish house of ousted Prime Minister Sheikhhasina's father Sheikh Mujibur Rahman at Dhanmondi 32. Vandalism at Dhanmondi 32, outburst of public agony caused by Sheikh Hasina's provocative remarks against the July uprising, says interim government. Bangladesh protests India over former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's activities staying in India, terming as provocative. High Court cancels recruitment of 6,531 candidates as assistant teachers at government primary schools in Dhaka and Chattogram divisions. Trump's idea of taking over Gaza rejected by countries including Jordan and Egypt, while UN issues a warning against any form of ethnic cleansing. And Fortune Borishal to take on Chittagong Kings in grand final of Bangladesh Premier League at Sher Bangla National Cricket Stadium tomorrow. Viewers, those were the headlines. Now moving on to the details. The interim government's advisory council has given in principle and final approval to the draft of the International Crime Tribunal Amendment Ordinance 2025. The approval was given at a meeting of the advisory council chaired by Professor Muhammad Yunus at his office today. Later, the cabinet division informed the media about the meeting. In the meeting, it was informed that the International Crime Tribunal Amendment Ordinance 2025 has been formulated to further amend the International Crime Tribunal Act 1973 to make it timely. The Advisory Council has also given in principle and final approval to the draft of Sheikh Russell Rural Development Academy Rangpur Amendment Ordinance 2025 and in principle and final approval to the draft of Bangabandhu Poverty Alleviation and Rural Development Academy Amendment Ordinance 2025. In addition, the Advisory Council has given in principle and final approval to the draft of Sheikh Hasina Rural Development Academy Jamalpur Amendment Ordinance 2025 and in principle and final approval to the draft of National Identity Registration Abolition Ordinance 2025. Yesterday marked the 6th month of the July mass uprising that brought down the autocratic Awami League government on August 5th last year. It was announced from the Facebook page of the banned student organization Chhatr League that Sheikh Hasina's speech would be broadcast at 9 p.m. that night. This announcement caused tension on social media throughout the day. Students and online activists participating in the anti-discrimination student movement called for a bulldozer march towards Dhanmondi 32 and a march to Dhanmondi 32 program on Facebook. Students and agitated people started demolishing various structures, including murals of fascism across the country, including the house of ousted Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's father, Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, at Dhanmondi 32. Protesters resumed to demolish Dhanmondi 32 after dawn today. The excavator was used to tear down the structure. The overnight demonstration had resumed after a brief pause, with hundreds gathered at the location. Shortly before midnight, at least one crane and an excavator reached at the scene. Parts of the building were razed and razed to the ground by 2 a.m. today. The interim government has said that the vandalism at Dhanmondi 32 house was the outburst of public agony caused by Sheikh Hasina's provocative remarks against the July uprising. In a statement issued by the chief advisor's press wing today, the government said that the incident was unattended and intended unexpected, while the vandalism at Dhanmondi 32 was the outburst of public anger created due to Sheikh Hasina's provocative statements against the July uprising from India, where she is staying to avoid arrest. In the last 6 months, there has been no attack or destruction on the Dhanmondi 32 house, the statement said, adding that the vandalism happened last night due to two reasons. Firstly, deposed dictator Sheikh Hasina insulted and undermined the martyrs of the July uprising by making irrelevant, vulgar, and hateful remarks on the deaths of the martyrs. Sheikh Hasina disrespected and disgraced the July uprising. Secondly, the despised fleeing the mass uprising fugitive Sheikh Hasina was talking in the same tone she used to speak when she was in power by means of corruption, terrorism, and inhuman processes. And she was threatening the July mass uprising and everybody who participated in the mass movement against her. The statement said the interim government is on the highest alert to protect the lives and property of the country's people, and the law enforcement agencies are making all-out efforts to bring the situation under control. The government hoped that India would not allow its territory to be used for any act that creates instability in Bangladesh and would not give Sheikh Hasina scope to make statements. The interim government does not want a reoccurrence of such incidents in the future, the statement added. The statement said that the interim government is committed to ensuring befitting punishment to the perpetrators of the massacre through the trial. The government will examine what legal steps can be taken against those involved in provocative acts, according to the statement. Bangladesh has conveyed its protest to India over former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's activities staying in India, which Dhaka sees as provocative. Bangladesh handed over a protest note to the Indian Acting High Commissioner, calling him to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Foreign Affairs Advisor Mohammad Tauhid Hussain told media today. He said Dhaka also requested New Delhi in the past of refraining Sheikh Hasina from making such activities, but Dhaka did not get any reply from New Delhi. He said the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, through Acting High Commissioner of India to Bangladesh, again protested such efforts today. Responding to the question, the foreign advisor said Hasina's recent remarks were very attacking, which might have hurt the young generation's sentiments.
কে ছাত্র জনতা ভালোভাবে নেয়নি এবং তিনি অবিরাম যেহেতু প্রভোগ করতে থেকেছেন তারই ফলশ্রুতিতে এই ঘটনাটা ঘটছে বলে আমাদের বিশ্বাস। তিনি এই ধরনের ঘটনা থেকে বিরত থাকতেন তাহলে এরকম ঘটনা হয়তো ঘটতো না। ভারতকে আমরা লিখিতভাবে অনুরোধ করেছি যে শেখ হাসিনাকে রেস্ট্রেইন করার জন্য, যাতে করে তিনি এই ধরনের বক্তব্য বিবৃতি না দেন যেটা বাংলাদেশের বিপক্ষে যাচ্ছে। আমরা এটা জবাব পাইনি এখনো। আমরা আজকে আবার তার গত কয়েকদিনের কার্যকলাপের কারণে আমরা আরেকবার তাদেরকে প্রোটেস্ট নোট দিয়েছি এবং অ্যাক্টিং হাই কমিশনারকে ডেকে তার হাতে প্রোটেস্ট নোট দেওয়া হয়েছে। আমরা আবার অনুরোধ করেছি যেন তাকে রেস্ট্রেইন করা হয়, কারণ তার যেসব বক্তব্য প্রধানত মিথ্যা উনি উল্লেখ করছেন সেটা এক ধরনের ইনস্টেবিলিটিতে প্রভোগ করছে বাংলাদেশে।
The High Court today cancelled the process to recruit 6,531 candidates as assistant teachers at government primary schools in Dhaka and Chattogram divisions. A High Court division bench of Justice Fatima Najib and Justice Sheikhhasina Mohammadur Razi pronounced the judgment, declaring absolute a rule issued earlier in this regard. 30 candidates filed a writ challenging the decision to publish a list of successful candidates, accusing authorities of following a quota system in the recruitment of candidates from Dhaka and Chattogram divisions in the third phase. The High Court, after holding a hearing on the matter, issued the rule and stayed the recruitment process for 6 months. The court today came up with the judgment declaring absolute that rule. Shipping Advisory Brigadier General retired Dr. M. Shongbad Hussain said the Integrated Port Study initiative has been taken to upgrade Chattogram Port to an international port. The advisor told this to reporters after inspecting various facilities, including the car shed of Chattogram port today. He said the government are in talks with the World Bank and others for the development of the port, including the Bay Terminal. Chattogram Port Chairman Rear Admiral S.M. Munir Zaman and senior officials of the ministry and the port were present on the occasion. Now, international news. The Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas has said that he strongly rejects President Donald Trump's proposal for the U.S. to take over Gaza and resettle the 2.1 million Palestinians living there. Hamas, whose 15-month war with Israel has caused widespread devastation, said Trump's plan would put oil on the fire in the region. The idea has been rejected by countries in the region such as Jordan and Egypt and key U.S. allies, while the UN issued a warning against any form of ethnic cleansing. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said Gaza was an integral part of a future Palestinian state, telling a meeting in New York that the rights of Palestinians to live as human beings in their own land was slipping further out of reach. The world, he said, has seen a chilling, systematic dehumanization and demonization of an entire people. Saudi Arabia said Palestinians would not move from their land and it would not normalize ties with Israel without the establishment of a Palestinian state. But Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Trump's proposal could change history and was worth paying attention to. A new report released by the National Council of Resistance of Iran, NCRI, claimed Iran is secretly developing nuclear missiles with the ability to reach Europe based on designs handed to the Islamic regime by North Korea. According to the report, the weapons are being produced at two sites disguised as satellite launch facilities. It stated that the missiles are capable of traveling more than 3,000 kilometers, 1,800 miles, potentially targeting Europe. It estimates that Iran has already tested the rocket launchers at the Sohrud facility at least 3 times. The second testing facility is believed to be located more than 43 miles southeast of Semnan, where Tehran is developing Symorg missiles based on North Korean designs. According to NCRI, the program in Semnan is allegedly kept under wraps by linking it to Iran's space program and establishing the Khimoni Space Launch Terminal. The Immigration Department of Malaysia has arrested 58 foreign nationals, including individuals from Myanmar, Bangladesh, Indonesia, India, and Vietnam, during a joint operation targeting an illegal food court business in Puchong. Director General Datuk Zakaria Shaban said the raid was launched yesterday following public complaints and 1 week of surveillance, as the food court was found to be employing foreign nationals who had overstayed their temporary work permits and were using expired documents. Among those arrested were 31 men and 10 women from Myanmar, along with 2 men and 1 woman from Indonesia. Director said the arrest also involved 9 Bangladeshi men, 4 Indian men, and 1 Vietnamese man. The operation involved 95 officers from the department, together with the National Registration Department and Malaysian Civil Defense Force. Now, sports news. Cricket. Fortune Borshal will take on Chittagong Kings in the grand finale of the Bangladesh Premier League tomorrow at Bangla National Cricket Stadium. The match will start at 7 p.m. Tamim Iqbal-led Borshal is considered as outright favorite for the second consecutive title after showing a consistent performance throughout the tournament. If Borshal can retain the title, they will be the third team after Dhaka and Kumilla franchise to win more than 1 BPL trophy. Chittagong Kings moved to the final only once, that too in 2013, but lost to eventual champions Dhaka Gladiators.